Hello, welcome to my channel. This is Ish. Today we are going to talk about a very interesting topic. What is DNS lookups and how to reduce it? First, I would like to clear you the concept of DNS lookups. So, whenever a user is requesting a website from the browser sends the signals to the DNS server, and the DNS server from the DNS server the domain name is mapped to the particular IP address. Here the domain name is abc.com. So this domain name is mapped to particular IP address. So the DNS server send the IP address of the domain name. So browser then receives all the necessary signals from this IP address. The main server hosted on this IP address. From this IP address, it gets all the necessary resources to download the website. This is the basic concept of DNS lookups. Okay, why I am getting to reduce the DNS lookups? What is the main reason behind it? That means if you are adding third-party resources on your website. So whatever may be the third-party resources, every third-party resources you are adding on your website, it's going to take extra DNS lookups for each resources. For example, you may have web fonts, and it separately take another DNS lookup for web fonts. And if you have analytic codes on your website, and it takes another DNS lookup for loading the analytics. And if you have a social buttons, and it take another DNS lookup for loading the social buttons. So the main and most important and easy way to reduce the DNS lookups is just easily reduce the external resources. If you are new to my channel, please consider subscribing. And in this video, let's talk about how to reduce the DNS lookups. If you test your site on Google PageSpeed Insight, you may get the error reduce initial server response time due to this DNS lookups. And the same thing you may get the error on GTmetrix as reduce DNS lookups. So if you check out the waterfall model of the GTmetrix, then you may come to know which resources is taking so much time in DNS lookups. It will give you an idea of which resources is making a very long time and what to do. First, I would start with DNS provider. There are fast and slow type of DNS provider. If you are using GoDaddy or Namecheap, the DNS provider, then you may get very slow DNS lookups. So if you pay for DNS provider like DNS Made Easy, even Cloudflare is a free option, but they provide a good DNS providing network. So invest in networking and you choose your DNS provider who are fast. The next way to reduce the DNS lookup is by setting up the TTL value. As I said earlier, when the first time the browser looking for a website, it maps the domain name to its IP address using the DNS server. But when the second time, at the same time when it's loading for the again the same address, it takes it from its DNS cache. So the DNS cache value is set using the TTL value. So the higher the TTL value, the higher the chances of having it in the browser DNS cache. So the most commonly the TTL value is set between 30 minutes to 1 hour. If your website have frequent update, then you have to reduce this TTL value. Anyhow, this setting up the TTL value is help to increase the browser DNS cache. And the next way to reduce the DNS lookup is by using Prefetch DNS. If you are using more external resources on your website, then rel is equal to DNS prefetch will allow you to tells the browser to prefetch the DNS lookup, so the browser can understand the following resources are necessary to download the web pages. So it will prefetch it and keep it ready when it is necessary. As I said earlier, the very easy way to reduce the DNS lookups is by just reducing the number of domains. If your website is in abc.com domain name, you can just have single DNS lookup by using the single domain name. And if you are using any other external resources, you can use the CDN. So your CDN and your domain name will only the two resources your browser is looking for, where looking for the resources. So by reducing the domain names, you are reducing the DNS lookups. The next important thing to reduce the DNS lookup is by hosting your resources on your CDN. I don't know whether everyone know about this technique. I have seen many WordPress website has not effectively using their CDN to host their resources. So and it also have the drawback, you can't host all the resources on your CDN. Some resources are only hosted from their main server, but you can host if you are using Gravatar or Google APS and gstatic fonts for your website, then you definitely can host your resources on your CDN. This will definitely help you to reduce the DNS lookups. The last and the most common thing is deferring the JavaScript. If you don't want any resources to be loaded on the first fold, then you can defer that JavaScript and you can load it on the below the fold. This will also help you to reduce the DNS lookups. If the JavaScript is an external resources and if you don't want to use it on the first fold, then this will help you to reduce your DNS lookups. I hope you find new things from this video, and if you find it useful, please subscribe to my channel and follow me on LinkedIn and Twitter. See you on another useful video. Until then, this is Ish.